Wow, that's incredible. So talk about that decision, that time. You know, what if anything did you learn from like how one decision could just change your life drastically?
Yeah, I was actually just debating it like when it got brought to me, like, man, should I do this? But then they just kept, egging me. Yeah, you can do it. It's easy. Just park here, and all you gotta do is just drive. That's it. You ain't gotta do nothing else. Like, so that's what made it me like, okay, well, I can do it. Like, that's all I gotta do. Like, all right, and yeah, it just didn't go that way. But I believe everything happens for a reason. So it sucks that I went through this, but it's my story could just help somebody else.
Right.
Like, help others.
Right.
Like I always tell people, like whenever I tell people about my story, I tell them, man, just don't let 1 minute of bad decision making in your life cost you 10 years. Like,
yeah, that's dope.
That's literally what happened. Like 1 minute cost me 10 years of my life.
That's dope. I tell people something similar. I tell them, listen, when you're getting ready to do something, you got to think about the worst case scenario, not the best case. Because I think when we are faced with a choice of whether or not we should do something, anything, we always want to concentrate on the best case scenario.
Right.
Thinking the best case scenario is going to happen.
Right.
But I tell them, if you're okay with the worst case scenario,
then
if that happens, then go ahead and do it. Because if you can't live with the worst case scenario, don't do it, because we know that it's a choice. Like more than one thing can happen. It could be the best case or the worst case, and the best case don't always happen.
Right.
So you went to trial, and you lost the trial.
Yeah.
Did they take you right then?
Actually, I was on pre-trial, so I was home, like
you
fighting.
Was out on bond?
Yeah, I was out on bond. I was fighting. At first, I got locked up. My first bail was maybe like, I think they said like 500,000. Like, with feds, like, they don't do cash.
Right.
Like they want, you got to put up assets like properties or cars, and you have to own it. So I was like 500,000. Like, yeah, that's
a bit high.
It's not gonna happen. Like, it's crazy. So we just kept fighting that. Then they went down to like 400,000, and finally they went down to like 200,000, and we was able to post bond. And, I got out, and I was fighting the case for almost 2 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, going back and forth. Once you're in court, like, and they postpone it, then it's like 6 months or 3 months down the line. So you're like, man, it's crazy. So it was a lot of postponing, and big case too. So it was like, it sucked, but I was fighting it, and then finally I went to trial. And then after I lost the trial, the prosecutor was just like, oh yeah, we recommend that we take him in since he lost, because we think if you let him go, he's gonna run.
Flight risk.
Yeah, flight risk.
Even though they got your assets.
Yeah. He's like, he's gonna run, considering the circumstances. So they just took me right on the spot, and
Wow.
That was kind of hard. You got family there, and they all crying.
Right.
And that was like, so that was
it's a horrible situation.
It's horrible, like the worst.
Tell me about that first day, like, transport to the county jail.
The very first day, I was like, it was like shock. Like, man, it was crazy. Just going, like, I went straight to the downtown San Diego, straight to the Federal Holding Center. And like, as soon as they bring you in the handcuffs, first thing you got to do is just strip down naked.
Right.
Like, you do some crazy stuff, bend over, cough, and like, what? Like, you just feel just
what it's like to be a stripper.
You just feel so violated. Like, it's like, what did I get myself into? And then they put you in a room all by yourself, and 4 walls, and all you got to do is think. And this is like day one. Like, right. So day one, I learned my lesson day one. Like most people, it take them, a while. Like, I learned my lesson day one, hour one. Like, it's like, man, this isn't for me. Like, so.
You knew that wasn't for you.
That wasn't for me. It wasn't for me. So then, I was just in that room, just praying and just, talking to myself, just going over the whole thing, and just, Like I was like, I started writing a letter like to my parents, just like apologizing, like, you know, letting you guys down, and
Right.
you know, just pretty much pouring out my heart in that letter.
Right.
Like, man, it's not looking good, and that was like my first night.
Yeah, that's interesting to hear you say that. Yeah, because I think I guess a lot of people probably go through it like
Yeah.
just feelings of guilt, especially when
Right.
I can't speak for everybody, but I came from a family.
Yeah.
I knew I let my family down, I let myself down, I let my children down,
Right.
and everything. It sounds like you had.
Yeah. I just, you know, it was bad. I feel like I let everybody down, like my college coaches, high school, just everything.